Okay, so we've got recording going on now. All right, so welcome everyone again to this session for today. Um, can someone briefly uh, tell me what was covered in last session? What was the last thing that was covered? Is anyone here that attended yesterday's session?
Sir, I think what was done yesterday is how to install and download WSL, and I think they ended it with GitHub if I'm not wrong. I had to leave the session in the middle,
Okay,
but I think for about an hour or hour and a half, it was to do with Windows users and how they run Linux on the systems.
yeah, okay.
And
So
in the last, it was Git and GitHub.
Git and GitHub, right? Yeah. So it
All
would have,
pushing, committing everything, and VS Code, miss everything about Git and GitHub.
yeah, that's very good because this topic, right, Git and GitHub, is extremely important going forward. Okay, almost everything going forward will require some use of this somewhere down the line, and also in your professional career, you will need this. Okay, every organization uses it. So if you are not familiar with this, I would suggest that even if you're not doing this course, or you're going to drop this course, or even if you quit this program, if you got anything to do with writing any sort of code or maintaining any sort of repository, then you will need to know Git. Okay, so even if you don't learn anything from this program, at least learn this. Okay, so version control, Git and GitHub. It's like the de facto standard now to use. So Jivraj will be taking today's session. I think he will mostly cover, perhaps he will cover how to install npx, and this is a JavaScript tool. Um, uh, and what it does is, typically you want to install some JavaScript packages on your system, and npx is one way to run those packages. So we'll use something called Node Package Manager, which is sort of like a virtual environment that helps you run JavaScript code on your system. So typically, JavaScript you will only use within the browser. So if you go inspect and you use the, sorry, this is a bit small. Let's see here. Yeah. So
Sir,
typically, yeah,
sir, what you have discussed till now?
we just started the session. So I'm just going over some of the key things we'll be covering for this session, right? So the first tool that we'll be looking at is, I think, JavaScript. And has Hrithik covered UV at all in the previous sessions?
No, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Just mentioned the name, I think 2-3 sessions back, but otherwise UV was not covered.
Okay. Yeah. So we will briefly explain how to use UV. Okay. And then next we'll talk about how to run JavaScript package. So typically JavaScript packages, you execute JavaScript within a browser, typically. But if you want to run JavaScript in your system, right, then you have to install something called Node. And so Node, there are different versions of Node, and each version has its own quirks. So how do you manage all that? You use something called npm, which is this Node package manager, and then uh, you are able to run JavaScript uh, using Node on your system. And the Node package manager also enables you to install JavaScript packages, just like you have libraries in Python, right? So you will have certain libraries you use in Python that you have to uh, install on your system. Then you're able to use some functions from that. So it's a similar sort of setup, but for JavaScript. And then Jivraj will talk through you about most likely some CSS and where and what you can do with those things. But I think we will take a separate session for that itself. Okay, so it won't be covered in detail here. And then he will explain how to use the LLM tool, I believe, and a bit of SQL, because you guys have not. Some of you might not be might not understand how SQL works, so we'll go give you a
yes,
brief
sir.
overview of that. And then we will wind up with any questions related to week one, because your assignment is due on Sunday, right? So we'll wind up the session with any questions related with that. And if then there are no more questions, then we can talk about week 2. Tomorrow's session, we will start week 2, okay, with the deployment tools. Week 2 is going to be very heavy. There are a lot of challenging topics here. Of note are things like Vercel, GitHub Actions, Docker, code spaces is a new thing, so we'll talk about that. NGRock, this is pretty important topic. And then cores. So there is a lot, okay? So week 2, we will be taking several sessions because there is quite a lot of heavy topics in week 2. So we'll start it tomorrow itself. Today, if you've got any week 1 related issues, I would suggest you ask them all today, and we will then start week 2 tomorrow. Okay. Right. With that, I will.
Sorry to disturb.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sir, I see that the session is being recorded.
Yeah.
After how many hours or so or days would it be sent to us?
Okay, so normally what used to happen every term is normally it's the next day, but we are in the middle of developing a specialized tool, which we are still have some bugs to iron out of it. Okay, I don't know if how many of you have had the chance, but if you go to, let me see if it is on here or not. So, okay, I need to sign in for this. I'm demonstrating on a VM, so it's not signed in, I think. Okay, yeah, there we go. So if I go here, all right, so this is something new that we have started this term, okay, where we are using an AI tool to chapterize so you can get exactly to the issue that we're discussing in the videos. Normally, if we did this manually, it's a very laborious process. Obviously, you have to watch whatever 2 hours or 3 hours worth of content to be able to generate these, right? But we are developing an AI tool that helps do this in 1 minute. But there are some bugs, okay? It's still not perfect. This is why initially this first week, the videos have been a bit slow coming out because we're still ironing out the bugs. I can push the video immediately if you wanted to. But the problem then you're facing is you'll have to watch through 2 hours or 3 hours worth of video to get to the solution of the issue that you're trying to find. So I leave the choice to you guys. If you feel that you want to do that, want me to do that, then I'll push the video out, no issues. But having said that, the video is still accessible, okay? Because if you go to your calendar.
Sorry, sir, I lost the connection.
Sorry, you're not audible. Can you repeat the question?
Sir, I lost the connection. Am I audible now?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, sir. So,
Yeah, go ahead. What was your question?
so you are telling about the JavaScript, but I just lost the connection and I didn't catch up to that.
Okay, yeah. I'm just talking some few operational things at the moment. Okay, nothing significant other than operational issues for this coming session.
Sir, I am actually completely unknown to this language. So, whatever you are saying, please just repeat once.
Okay, so when I say operational things, I'm talking about daily, normal, routine things I'm talking about at the moment. Nothing technical at the moment, right? So don't worry about what you missed, okay? Yeah.
Two things, sir. First thing is that like when we answer some GA questions.
Yeah.
Okay, and we cannot do like we are not able to finish. You also tell this.
Okay, I'll just interrupt you there real quick. Okay, I know you want to ask this question. Let me just finish what I was showing, and then you can ask the question. Okay, is that okay? Hello, who was speaking?
Yes, sir.
So it was Gaurav, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me just quickly finish what I was saying. Then I'll.
Stop, sir. That's why I stopped.
Yeah, okay. So what I was saying is if you want to access the previous videos, you can still access them via the calendar, okay? So if you go to the calendar, you can see this link over here. You can click on this link and you'll get the video, but it won't be chapterized. So that's the only thing I was going to say about that. If you want the chapterized video, then you'll have to wait a little bit. But meanwhile, you can still get access to the video through the calendar, okay? So that is something that you'll be aware of.
Sir, thank you.
Now, there might be some videos sometimes that are not accessible on the calendar. The reason for that is deliberate. it means that we flagged some issue in the video. Either, for example, something sensitive was shown that should not have been shown on the video. By sensitive, I mean things like API keys being exposed inadvertently or things like that, right? Some sensitive information might have been exposed. So in order to protect those from those situations, the video is not immediately accessible because it's going through some post processing where we try to clean out those instances where that has happened. Okay, so that's why sometimes it's not accessible. Okay, because we have to do some post processing cleanup. So just something for you to be aware. But 95% of the time, you can still get access to the videos by just directly clicking it from the calendar.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Now you can ask the question. What were you asking?
Sir, regarding the same thing you know already. Like when we are restarting this one, again the answers has gone off, or like this, the score will be gone because showing total score.
Yeah. So you notice here the score is 0, right?
We notice our score 0 and we check all. Then we see even after checking all, some answers are running in
Yes.
between.
So I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain the process, right? So you see the score is 0 here, right?
Yeah.
Do you see this recent saves?
Yes.
Right. Can you see this reload button?
Yes.
You see the score here?
Yes.
If I hit the reload button,
Mhm.
right, it says loaded and it loads all the answers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it loaded all the answers.
Yes.
Okay. So most of them will give you a score of 10, right? But some questions, 1 or 2
Yeah.
questions, sometimes
Mhm.
you might
Mhm.
have to redo those specific questions
Yeah.
because they require some access, for example, to your GitHub where the token might have changed or something
Yes.
like that, right? But the important thing to remember is if this was your last score, right?
Mm.
If it is recorded on here, you see
Mm.
what it says here?
Yes.
Yeah, it says that is your official score, right?
Yep.
Can you see this? Is it clear? So it
Yes,
doesn't
after this
matter
one, I'm
that it
not
says
listening.
0 here. The fact is this is stored on our backend server. We have seen your last submission time and we have
Mhm.
recorded your score as 10. And if you don't do anything beyond this, right? If you close this and don't come back to this or do anything on there, this will be your official score on your graded assignment. Does that make it
Copy.
clear?
Second question, sir. Few things are not available in my country where I'm right now. I face this one big challenge. Somehow it's like
What?
ngrok.
Okay.
It's not available in Qatar
Sorry, where?
because ngrok.
Hmm.
Like, sorry to say, sir, it's in week 2, but
Yeah.
it's
No,
like,
no, I understand. Yeah.
yeah, it's not available because I just recheck it because they're asking to open the ngrok in this one just to install. That time you said we can take like help of the other people,
Hmm.
and so that time we are all are in meet and
Yeah.
things happen like, then they are telling, brother, it's opening. I'm telling, no, the site is not reaching. Maybe
Right.
this one
So,
busy.
yeah. So that
Yeah,
software you're not able to use basically. You're not able to use
I
ngrok
cannot
to.
even open it, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Understood.
So,
We'll think of what. Okay. The reason you would use ngrok. So first we'll talk about the reasons.
yeah.
So we'll have to find an alternative for it. So the
Mm,
reason to use ngrok is you have a service running locally on your system. Okay. Some
yep.
service, and you want to make it accessible to the outside world. Okay.
Mm,
So normally when you're running a service, it'll run on your local host and it'll be on some port locally on your machine. Now you want to make this visible to me, for example. I'm in India or someone is in the US or whatever it is.
mm,
You want to make it visible to them, right? What is running locally on your computer. So the purpose of ngrok is to do that, which is it exposes your application to the outside world. Okay. Now, Uh, there might be a reason why in Qatar, for example, it is restricted. Might be because they don't want people to. They want to monitor all communications going in and out of the country, possibly. Okay. So when you create an ngrok tunnel, right? So you can imagine it. I don't have my tablet here, but you can imagine a tunnel. Okay, it creates a tunnel from Qatar to, say, for example, our server. Okay, and this tunnel is typically it is encrypted. Okay, so what is traveling through the tunnel, Qatar cannot see. This is probably why it has been blocked. Okay, is my guess. Okay.
Yeah.
So the solution to that is we might have to find some other software, some open source software that you don't have to pay for, that may still enable you to create these tunnels, but not using NGROC. The key thing to remember is, yeah, so someone suggested local tunnel, right? So that's a JavaScript package. NGROC itself uses a server somewhere, okay? And so Qatar has blocked access to that server. Whereas local tunnel does not use an external server. Local tunnel creates a tunnel directly from your machine to whatever person you give the endpoint to. The only problem is, I checked with Anand sir about local tunnel because that's something I had suggested. Is local tunnel, there is some issue with regards to allowing cross origin requests. So if someone can get local tunnel working with cores or cross origin requests, then that's fine. It might work in your case. But what I'll do is, after this session is over, I will check and see with Anand if he has some suggestions. But meanwhile, if any of you are here, we welcome other students as well to do some investigation and seeing if there is an alternative to NGROC, because I'm also interested in an alternative to NGROC. Okay, so that's something we will try and see if
Okay,
we
sir.
can find out for you. Okay, but at least now you know
Yes. सुरंग
what it's
निकाल के
for.
चले जाना है सर.
Yeah, sorry.
We have to make tunnel somehow just
Yes,
to overcome everything.
correct. Yeah, so
Either
that's what you. Yeah.
either the known tunnel or unknown tunnel, somehow we have to make this one.
Yeah. So local tunnel will work because local tunnel Qatar has no control over, right? It's something you're running on your own computer. Whereas NGROC, they are able to block because NGROC actually connects to a server. So your tunnel goes to an external server of NGROC, and NGROC then provides an endpoint. So it's an intermediary. They are able to
So
block
sir,
the
it's like a
intermediary.
local tunnel we are going to put, then we can just ask the local tunnel.
Yeah, but like I mentioned, the
But
problem
the
with
code provided, yes, that's now in last question. The code provided for the getting that API URL is using the ngrok only.
yeah. Let's see. I
That's
go
the part
to
also. Like the last part, you have to use the ngrok only. Last question,
this
sir.
one, right?
Last.
Yeah, no, this doesn't look for ngrok. This just looks for a URL. I know it says paste your URL forwarding URL here, but any
Mhm.
URL that will expose your service is fine. We are just
Only
looking for,
only any URL which is generated by opening the server or with the running server. Even though
yeah.
it's local tunnel, it's okay.
Hmm. Yeah, because see, what will happen is when you put the URL here, its job is it will connect to your OLAMA that's inside, right? Your
Hmm.
services, your OLAMA service is running on your computer. We
Yep.
will connect it using this URL. The ngrok's purpose is for the tunnel. So we will communicate with that tunnel to your OLAMA. We'll send a request to your OLAMA, and then OLAMA has to give us a response back. So we are looking for what that response is to prove that you have set it up correctly. But what you use for the tunnel does not matter. Okay.
Okay, sir.
At the end of the day, it's a tunnel. Yeah. So,
So the
but
second part is just for exposing, even though it's local tunnel, no problem.
yes, but my only issue, like I said, is Anand told me that local tunnel, that particular package that I'm talking about, which is a JavaScript
Hmm.
package, it doesn't allow cores, is what he told me. So because it doesn't allow cores, because see, this is what we are going to check, okay, through your local tunnel.
Yes.
You have to allow cross-access origin, right? So apparently, local tunnel, the package called local tunnel, which was just shared, does not does not accept cores for some reason. So we might have to find an alternative or find a way to get cores working with local tunnel. I don't have the solution immediately at the moment.
Yeah,
But
no problem.
thanks. Yeah, but thanks for raising it. But I want to encourage all you students on this session today, and even those who are watching afterwards.
Even
Try
I
and see
was
if you can find a
even I
solution.
was surprised because I thought they had having Starlink everything. How come NGRock they had blocked?
Yeah.
For me also is a new thing only.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so
Because
much, sir.
yeah, it's for censorship purposes. They want to control information going out of the country, right? So that's why NGRock is an easy to use service. You don't need a lot of effort to configure it. So they for them it's a low hanging fruit, right? They can just block NGRock because it's a hosted service somewhere.
Hmm.
But it's much more difficult to block individual computers like yours. So
Agreed, sir. It's just you block the access, khalas.
yes.
Okay.
So yeah, some people have put suggestions on here. So yeah, you'll have to explore, okay, what the options are. If you find something that works, I highly recommend you post on Discourse what the solution was, so that we also can learn from it and we will implement it in the course going forward also. Okay, it's a
Yes,
two-way
sir.
street. We are
I
also learning
understood
and you
why,
are also learning.
but I understood why in TDS you're asking. It's like in Hindi say Samdan Dandabet, whatever you use it to
Yes,
get the answer. I
correct.
understand totally.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, no worries, brother. Okay. Okay, Gaurav, that's your hand, right? That is raised?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will
Ah,
lower down.
all right. Okay. So are there any other questions before Jivraj starts today's session? Okay, if there are no more questions, Jivraj, you can carry on.
Hi.
So the audio is not clear.
Yeah. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this was first thing on the list. UV
The audio is
installation
not
and
clear.
usage. Sorry.
Uh, okay, now it is. Earlier than this, it was not clear. I think background noise is coming from your end.
Yeah,
Yes,
Jivraj,
background noise.
you can go to setting in Gmeet. There is noise cancellation built in the Google Meet. I think you need to turn on microphone first.
Okay.
I don't know why it is not showing in yours, but in my case it was showing.
Hello. Is it better now?
Little better.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now there is no background noise or nothing, right?
No.
Better
Okay.
Yeah, so
than
how did you connect it? How did you connect it?
I used another microphone device.
Okay.
So the first thing is UV installation. All right. So So if you are using macOS or Linux machine, then going through this would install UV. And after doing this, you would have to set the path as well. So once you run this command, then it will show what are the next steps that you need to do.
Jivraj, can you just pause there for a second on that screen? Yeah. So if you attended Hritik's session, right, now you should be able to understand what this command actually does. Can someone volunteer what this is doing, this command? Can anyone open your mic and just explain what this command does? He covered.
Sir, I think curl is sending a post request to the URL of install.sh with I think shell request because it's a shell
Pipe.
request, so sh has been mentioned.
Yeah. So curl is the command. Yeah. And what's the dash over there represent?
Pipe. I think no dash is basically L is
Option.
Options.
So
Yeah.
Alice
So
is
there are some
list.
options that are come, right? So curl has some options. The command curl has some options. So dash is options. Yeah. And then what is so the next bit is the URL. Yeah. So curl is a package that gets data from a website, right? It pulls information from a URL. And so some options have been sent. So some output comes from that command, right? So where does that output go? What's the next part of this command?
That is pipe to patch.
Yeah. So that pipe symbol, that straight line that goes vertically, that's a pipe symbol. So the output from curl after processing goes to another command, right? So anyone knows what that other command is?
The shell.
shell
Yes,
execution.
correct. It is going to the shell, which is basically saying whatever this gives you, which is a script, by the way. If you look at it at the last end of that URL, it says install.sh, right? So that is a shell script. And we are saying take this shell script, whatever you get. So it's sending the raw shell script and it's piping it into the terminal back again to run it. So this is a very dangerous command. Okay, this is why I wanted to talk about. So two things. One, you understood now what this does. Before it was just a bunch of gobbledygook and you didn't understand how it works. But now that you know what it does, this is a very dangerous command. Make sure that whatever URL you're giving, whatever script you're giving is a safe script to run. Now we are taking it from an official source, in this case, the UV package place. And so we know we can be fairly confident this is a safe script to run. So it's okay. But just be careful about when you're running unknown scripts from the web, that this is technically what it is doing. Okay. So that's all I wanted to share about this. Okay, carry on, Jivraj.
So yeah, after installing, you should. So if I do UV hyphen version, I should be able to see the version that I'm using right now.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, actually, I have installed UV. I have got the message saying that installation successful. But after that, when I install
Alright.
UV, it says UV term UV not recognized.
What operating system you are using?
Windows.
I'm not sure how exactly it works in Windows because I have never used. I don't think on my PowerShell it is there.
Yeah,
it's not
these
over there.
But actually, I used pip command to install UV, and it gave me a message saying that installation successful.
This is correct
Yeah,
way of
correct.
installing.
No, yeah, correct. Pip install UV. That's what I used, and I got the successful message. But after that, I'm still not able to use the command UV.
Okay. So the thing is, when I used to use this method, okay, what happens is it asks me to source or set up few things, which is putting UV into the path. So actually, when you run this particular command, it installs UV inside a particular directory, and then you would have to source the path of that particular directory so that it is available from any directory. So
Sir, actually, even I got the same error, but then starting a new terminal and doing it again just solved the problem. So maybe just try a different new terminal.
Is it okay? Okay.
yeah, try the different terminal.
Sure.
Probably
Yeah,
that
just
would
a new
solve.
fresh terminal try.
Or else this is another way of using UV. So and there might be some post setup that you would have to do to use UV. I'm not sure about Windows, but in Linux, I had to do some post setup, sourcing the path variable and those things. So try that out. If it doesn't work, then try it out inside WSL or some virtual machine which is operating on Linux.
Okay, sir. I'll post it in the.
Or they just
Yeah.
all
Thank you.
right.
Sir, like with everything that's created in programming, whoever made it the way they did because it made sense to them. So, what is the meaning of LSSF in that command you showed in that screen for the curl LSSF astral shuv install?
Okay.
So,
So
because I'm
basically,
trying
you
to find it online, I haven't found any like full form or reasoning or anything that can just help me define it in my head.
okay? So I will just show how you can locate the documentations. Um, probably that one.
Sir, it could be seen in man page for curl.
Yeah, main page is one place where you can find it out. So this is one place, and over here, so it describes about what it is used for. So this is curl transfer URL, and this is a description of it, and then it takes some URL. So it also have got some arguments or options. Oh. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. So this is location. If the server reports that the requested page has moved to a different location indicated with the location header and a response code. So 302 or some response code is there which shows that it's been redirected. You will need to get redirected. This option will make curl read to the request on the new place. If used with -i, hyphen include or -i headers from all requested page will be shown when authenticated is used. Curl. So this is for sending a request. So whenever you send some request to some URL, so sometimes it might happen that that URL have been moved to another place. So you would have to redirect to that particular URL. So if you don't use this -l option, then what will happen is it won't So it will just send one request to whatever URL you provide, but if it have to send another request to the redirected URL, it won't be able to do that. So this is about -L option.
Who asked the question?
I did, sir. Hello.
Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
Tejasvik, yeah.
Sir,
Are you?
Krishnandu sent it in chat. It's exactly what I wanted to know.
Yeah. So have you done the MAD 1, MAD 2, any of those?
I have done MAD 1.
Okay, so that's a good reference point. So you remember that in MAD 1, when you set up your Flask API, right?
Yes.
Sometimes when you put a slash, right, and you go to that endpoint, you might want to redirect it to some other endpoint, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that redirect, when that happens, your server will put out a 302 or some 300 status code it will put out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That header will come back to whatever was calling it.
Yeah.
So in your case, it would have been you would have put the URL in the browser. The browser would have sent a request to your endpoint in your Flask application. The Flask application will respond with a, hey, I know you asked for this endpoint called slash, but I'm going to send you back a response 302 saying that this thing that you requested is in a different location. Okay, so it will send that back to the browser. Now, the browser has two options at that point. Either it will say, okay, if you're redirecting me, I don't want to be redirected. I'm happy with not going to the new location. Or it will say, carry on, show me the new redirected thing. Okay. But most browsers are configured so that redirections happen if they are within the domain of the URL that you're using. If it's being redirected to some domain that is outside the original domain, the browser will flash a warning saying, hey, you're being redirected to something other than this domain. So you understood the mechanics so far, right?
Yeah. So it's like when you send a child to get something from the shop and you tell them that if that shop doesn't have it, go get it from another shop.
Yeah. So that's what typically happens in a redirect scenario. Now this curl command is also the same way. What happens is you're telling curl, okay, get this from Astral SHU from this location, from this URL. Okay. Now the curl command will faithfully do that, but it might not be at that specific location. This might just be a mirroring location. In other words, it's just an entry point that points to another location. You don't know that internal dynamics of where it's pointing. Okay.
Okay.
But it will send back a 302 header. And if curl sees the 302 header, it has two options. So the -L option here says, yeah, if I'm being redirected, go ahead and follow the redirection.
Okay.
If that L is not there, right, it will say, no, I'm not willing to go to any other location other than the one I have specified.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's why it's here. Now, Jivraj showed you one way of looking up the documentation. So he showed you go to the man page. So this is the traditional way of looking up documentation, man page or info or anything like that. There is a better way. He'll show you the better way now, which is use the TDS GPT, type in curl capital L capital S F and ask it to explain it. It will break it down completely for you. Jivraj, can you just do that really quick?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's telling you now, right? So this is the quicker way of finding the information.
Sir, did you put a lot of effort into tuning the TDS assistant? Because I just tried it on Perplexity and it did not show me the answer.
Yeah, so this is a custom GPT that we have designed, okay? The TDS GPT. But the thing is, we will only continue investing in this GPT if you guys are using it. So that's why I mentioned this GPT. So I want all of you, whenever you run into problems, use the GPT because then we are able to fine tune it. we are able to see, do some analytics that will help us improve the tool. If you don't use it, we cannot improve it.
Okay, definitely. Thank you, sir.
Okay, right. Carry on, Jiraj.
So this was regarding the installation. Now, if you have any script that you want to run, for example, this is, right, it's running some Python script that locally exists, and then it can also run directly from internet. So, do I have some script that is available on internet? These two, this is if you have it.
Just create a FastAPI endpoint, no, real quick, because you'll teach two things in one go then. Or even a Flask endpoint, if people, because people are familiar with Flask, right? So you can just make a quick Flask endpoint.
Okay.
Sir, I am just a data science diploma student. I have not been through.
Jivraj, can you create the repo using CLI rather than the website? Because it will be worth for them to see how it is done in CLI.
So for CLI, would need this particular command, which I haven't installed, and no, don't do that.
I thought we could just create a repo, I mean folder in our local directory and then just do Git in it.
That will instantiate a local repo. But what I want to do is I want to use GitHub Cloud storage so that I can store my files and repositories over there.
So if I create a local instance of a repository and then try to push it into my repository using GH, will it work or not?
Yes, it will work. Yeah, you can. So that's what I do all the time. I create the repository locally, and then I push it to using GH on the CLI, and it pushes it into the. You can create the repository even from the CLI, the GitHub. That's why I wanted Jivraj to show that to you. Because you can do the entire workflow from the command line, and it's much quicker and it's much faster than using the website.
But sir, in case of Linux environment, it works very fine. But WSL2 or command line, GH and its repository structure is a little bit confusing to understand at first.
Yeah, it's very fast. Even WSL is fast. There is no issues with WSL.
No, actually, I was not able to verify my SSH key using GH. I had to create my SSH agent, then supply the key, and then use SSH-T to and send that to Git at GitHub to check if it is actually working. And then if it actually works, I'll have to.
Okay, so there are multiple ways of authenticating. My preferred way is not using an SSH key. Okay, what I do is I do authentication for GitHub from the CLI via GitHub authentication mechanism with the browser. So I use the HTTP authentication. It's much faster and a cleaner way of doing it. So you don't have to deal with SSH keys or anything of that sort. Maybe we can, I don't know if Hrithik has demonstrated it in a previous session or not. But if he has, then I would suggest you watch the video. If he hasn't, then we will show you one of these days. We will show you how you can do it that way. It's very clean and easy to do.
Sir, HTTPS thing was not shown. It was done through SSH.
Okay. Okay. We will then, in one of the sessions, we will show how to do it via the HTTPS authentication rather than SSH. Okay.
But sir, GitHub suggests SSH for verification and logging in. Why is it that so? Why is that the case?
I am not sure it recommends that or not, but I know that doing via HTTP is very straightforward.
But in case of
It is.
HTTPS, is the token every time different?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that, but I know that the authentication once completed, you don't have to worry about it. Once it's set, it is works consistently without any issues. So your workflow becomes very smooth and easy.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Can we ask that question to the GPT?
Yeah, definitely. By all means. That's what I also do. If I run into
Because
a
I think
question,
it will help you assess the GPT better as well.
yeah, definitely. You give it a try, and but we'll continue focusing on this session. Okay, we'll do these troubleshooting things a bit later because I don't want to take too much time on these issues. Just we want to try and cover up all the remaining topics for week one. But something for next session, okay? Or if there is time at the end of the session, we can do.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so this is our documentation for installing GitHub CLI. And over here, this is it have multiple series of commands, and then this is this represents basically it first runs this command, and I guess if it is not successful, if while running this particular command, if we get any error, then it would run this command. This is best from what I remember. So then it will run this command, and then later it will run this command as well. And then these end represent run them in sequence, and then this represents if it failed, then run the next one. Is it correct?
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay. I learned these things quite a lot earlier.
System commands.
Yes, system commands. And then this is for exchanging some keys for downloading GitHub CLI. All these requests using wget that are sent, these are for those purposes. Okay, and these are for giving particular permission. So these are steps of command that it runs, and then at the end it installs GitHub CLI. So I'll just copy this. I don't have GitHub, right? Yeah, I don't have.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, can you explain it again? First, we are installing the UV, and then suddenly we switch to GitHub. So what we are actually doing now?
Okay, so after installing UV, we decided to execute one script that is
Excuse me, sir.
sitting somewhere
Sorry
on internet.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Sir, can you please do something for me? I think it will help everybody, especially the people who are really struggling to understand concepts, because this will be like a domino effect and people will get confused more and more down the line, because there's so many things that you need to copy paste from the internet, like command lines, which half of us, more than half of us, won't ever understand the meaning of, especially with all the confusion that is being created. Can you create one like spider web chart and group all the relevant things with each other, and the grouping gets a separate head, like a heading, so people can form mental maps of what is actually doing what. Do you understand the point I'm trying to convey?
Okay, yeah, I will do that, but I won't be able to use the specific software that you have told.
Not just software, just generally, ताकि like so we know कि हाँ this is connected to this because of this reason.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Because
what
in
we
Mad like we have Flask, we have Java, Node.js, JavaScript. We have studied Java itself. We have Python. Some of us have studied C as well. So there's so many things in our head, and we don't know how to connect each of them with other things.
Correct, sir. We are not able to understand what is happening when you are switching even between the screens. Okay, from which screen you are going to which screen also. I mean, at least personally, I'm finding it really difficult. Uh,
No, I think everyone is finding difficult
Sir,
who
I
know
promise
who
you
know
that if
the.
that one
yeah.
spider web is there, I think it will help a lot.
Okay, let me check what is Spider-Man. Anyway, so thanks for
So
the
it's like
that you are
the
noting.
family tree maps that you've seen. Like one bubble is you say like programming languages. There's Python, C++, all of them in a
Right.
circle, and then there's like APIs that you connect with programs and websites, something like that. Like I don't know how to phrase it better because I'm not that knowledgeable
Are you
myself.
talking about the Spider ID?
No, 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 sir. Okay, sir, can you please search a mental maps or spider mental maps, something like that. SPIDER.
Just like a mind map or a flow chart, essentially, I think, right? Like it's basically just a
Mental
connecting.
maps, anything. You just Google search images, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
It's basically a graph, sir. Graph
Sort of
data.
like this, but simpler.
Okay. Let me try to craft it over here. Right. By the way, thanks for letting me understand that you are not able to understand what I'm trying to do.
No issues,
It,
sir.
okay.
Sir, it is
Can
nothing
I
to do with
suggest some names and then
the
you
way
can
you are
group them
teaching, sir.
accordingly?
The
Not
problem
at the
is
moment.
we don't have the enough background to digest things going at such a fast pace. So, I mean, yeah. So it's not that you are not teaching it in the right
No,
way. Or
I
correct.
understand that. I understand.
Sir, can I list some names and then you can write them down and group them according to your knowledge because that might be useful.
At the moment, I won't be able to use any software because I would have to
There's
know where
no
is which
specific
button
thing.
and
You can just
like,
write it down and like dashes. Go group them in boxes. Mental map is just a way of saying it.
No, if some creating something new at this time is difficult, then the other alternative, sir, is before when you are actually using any of the terms, if you can actually just give a gist of what the term is, it will be good.
all right. Okay. Tejashwik, you are suggesting
Sir,
something.
I'm writing down some names and then you can group them so we will know what is like belonging to the same category. Like Python, C++, Java, JavaScript, Node.js, SQL, Flask. Now in TDS we have some more things. WSL, we have Ubuntu. You can we can club all the things that are like very close to each other, linked to each other, and then split all the
If
ones
I
that are
can
not.
interrupt for a minute, sir,
Yeah,
I
yeah. Good.
don't think a single graph or a single notes kind of thing will help everyone because of everyone's individual style. So, can I talk for like 5 minutes and people can note it down in a way that they can understand and then create a mental map for later? Can I talk for like 5 minutes? All right. So let's take, we are creating a website. While creating a website, we choose to use Python as our base language, which we use as our backend language. So an important part of creating a website is making it visible. For making it visible, we use things like Flask and FastAPI. So Flask and FastAPI, what they do is, if we have our logics and database behind as a backend, we use either Flask or FastAPI to let the user communicate with our databases and our logics without making changes or anything. They have limited access. We give them limited access through this FastAPI or Flask. So FastAPI and Flask are Python libraries. They come under Python. One. So if we are doing it at a large scale, we have to make it accessible to the internet and not just us. For that, we have to deploy it somewhere where we are not writing the code. We write code and test it somewhere else in our own laptop or machines, and we deploy it somewhere else. So for that, there is a process called containerization, which we will not go into right now. So to make it easy for that process, we use UV. So what UV does is, you create your website in Python environment, right? UV gets the correct Python version, correct version for your Flask or FastAPI libraries, and whatever templating libraries you use in that. Every library, this UV helps us create an environment and track all these libraries and Python versions and everything else. So that is not what all UV does, but that is a very important part of UV. So so while we are developing, we make hundreds of changes. Like if we have 10 pages in our website and we create the first 2 pages, and in the middle of creating our third page, we realize we need another page's inputs for creating our completing the third page. And we start creating the fourth page. This will leave you in stumped as what you were doing before. You won't be able to keep track of your progresses. So that's where Git comes in. What we do is this package or the entire environment, that not the environment per se. So every code we wrote in our environment for the development process of this website, we use Git to track it. So what Git does is, for example, if I created one page yesterday and they call it commit, it's basically saving in Git. So if I committed to Git yesterday and I wrote like 50 lines today, Git lets me find out which 50 lines I wrote today exactly, and I can track this and I commit today so that this 50 lines get updated in the Git. So Git helps us track these changes, and once we finalize these changes and make sure everything is good and we haven't broken anything in our new 50 lines today, we can push it to the GitHub, which is basically a server which stores our code basically. So we push there. So until then, we can check and make changes in our Git however we want to in our local thing, and then we can push to our GitHub. So that's where Git comes in. So as we started, we have installed UV and started creating a project. Before creating a project, they wanted to initiate a repository, which is also basically a project in Git terms, which will help us track. So that's why they moved from UV to GitHub right now. That's all.
Hey, actually, thanks a lot. I think the story
That was really helpful.
was very easy to understand. At least
Yeah,
we
yeah.
know that what is happening. We didn't even know that we are actually trying to create a website, first of all. I mean, I didn't understand at all. I didn't
Yeah, the
understand.
analogies really help.
I'm not sure if you're trying to create a website right now. I just use that as an example, but
Yeah, whatever. I
हाँ
mean, we are
बिल्कुल perfect. That is the way to teach, bro. You don't have to go technical. The first step is to explain something in very arbitrary layman words, so the basis is formed, and then you go into detail. That was helpful. I'm sure that helped a lot of students as well.
thank you very much. I'm able to at least get some view of what is happening, what we are actually trying to do, and in between what each term means, little bit of it also I'm able to understand, though not completely, and there are still few dots, but it's a very good attempt, and I like it at least. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Prasad. Wait, who was the
thanks for the
person?
response.
Sorry.
Pirabhu. How do you
Yeah,
pronounce your name? Pirabhu or Prabhu?
that's supposed to be Prabhu. My
Okay.
parents played with it using numerology effects.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, everyone.
So actually, in the entire the discussion that you talked about, one thing I still didn't understand is you talked about something like moving from UV to GitHub or Git. That part I still didn't understand.
I'll try to create a document and a web chart for this. Give me like 2 days. If
Sure.
Prabhu wants to speak more on it, he's free.
Thank you, Tejas.
All right. So the UV to GitHub thing is before it is better to track each and every change of our project, so that because of that we have to create a local GitHub repo before we start our projects. So they installed UV already. They are going to start the project now. So before starting the project, they realized and installing Git. That's it.
No, actually, no. Just sorry. UV is also a version controlling software like Git.
No, no. UV. So so when the stuff we push to GitHub and Git are not the libraries, Python, everything else. We don't do that. We don't push those to GitHub, because if we are doing a machine learning project, it will take GBs of libraries. If you install PyTorch or TensorFlow, it will take a couple GB, and we cannot push all of that to our GitHub page. So what we do is we only track the exact version of each and every library and each and every dependency it is using. For that, UV is being used.
Okay.
So, okay, let me give a small overview of what containerization is. So these versions we store, right? Using something called Docker, we can install all these exact same versions. For example, the Python environment. We can install this exact same version of Python using Docker. And in that, all these versions of libraries can be installed using, let's say, Docker itself. So this will happen in the production server. You don't have to copy all your environment like Python and library files to our server, and you can keep track of these versions, and you can use this to directly install in the server from the internet, which is easy. GitHub and Git is for tracking code.
Yeah, correct. So tracking the changes, etc. That much I understood. UV is still something I didn't understand.
Read the chat,
But
Prasad.
to some extent, I understood. So actually, one more question is: so while I understand that what is actually happening or what is that we are trying to do overall, my next question is: where are we doing this? Is another question. I mean, I didn't understand where we are doing all this. I mean, in the VS Code, am I right? In the VS Code, you open a terminal
Okay,
and are you
so
doing all these things there in VS Code terminal?
VS Code, let's say VS Code is a glorified notepad. That's the simplest thing we can say. But the file where it's stored is where you save is inside your, let's say, project folder. And Git is used to track each and every change that happens for your codes under these project folders. And all this is in your local machine. It can be your Linux or Windows or whatever.
Okay, but so what you're saying is physically the files may remain on my Windows system, but on top of Windows system, I would have installed this Linux and then VS code, and from there
Prasad,
I'm actually executing the commands.
our goal is, so we
Yeah.
have Windows and we have Windows subsystem for Linux. Windows is for your normal use that you use for your life. WSL is so we can use data science properly without having any extra issues. So the community we can take the community's help and not have to do extra debugging on our end. On everything that you want to use, you put it on the Windows subsystem for Linux. So it's like you have another operating system without having dual boot.
Okay.
And on the Linux, you install everything else. All of those programs are individual, almost all of them. They just are interconnected in the sense that they work together. That the UV is ensuring it's like a plugin on VS Code. Have you used plugins on VS Code?
No.
So in VS Code, you can search and install different kinds of languages. Like you can download Python and start using Python. Like he said earlier, it's like a glorified notepad, right? So you need your notepad to understand Python. Why? How can it do that? First, you will download Python and then you can expect it to run Python. That way, there's a lot of other things that you can download as like plugins, and this is basically plugins, but you're doing them through the control center command line. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to say it.
No, we don't need to install VS Code extensions through the code. We can use our VS Code UI itself to install the extensions. So what the
But like
extensions
UV is
do
kind
is,
of an extension, no? Or am I wrong?
no, UV is not an extension from
Oh,
VS
so
Code.
sorry,
UV is
plugin.
no, not an extension or
Oh,
a plugin of VS Code. UV is
okay.
different from VS
Not a
Code.
VS
UV is
Code.
UV is
I'm
separate.
making an analogy so he gets it.
No. Oh, all right. Yeah, understood. So, what I was saying, yeah. So what VS Code helps you do is you have a keyword called def for writing functions in Python, right? So it highlights def in a different color and your function name in a different color. So this may seem like a very little thing, but it will help you differentiate between your variables and Python commands and library function names. It highlights your syntax
Yeah.
to help you read the code easily. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the primary purpose of VS Code. Let's say.
Yeah. That understood.
That's it.
That helps you visualize things. What is variable? What is function name? What is library? What is what? And all that stuff.
True.
Yeah. That I understand. Okay.
All right.
Thanks. Sorry, sir, for hijacking the session from you.
I think sir would be glad that we're doing this because usually classes are all muted. Teachers are like, "Do you get this? Do you get this?" Nobody replies, and then they're like, "Okay."
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Actually, we
So
need offline connect also. Yeah, sure, sir.
yeah. So you're absolutely right. The thing is, we want students to interact. TDS is a very interactive thing, and there are lots of differing skill levels in TDS. So that's the reason it's difficult to know where to pitch the problem, okay, or to pitch the answers. So some of you, this might be very basic information. For some of you, it will be very difficult to digest what's happening. So the only way we will know that is if you interact with us, right? So that's why we kept quiet, because Prabhu was doing a fantastic job, and his answers are all correct, what he mentioned. And he was explaining Prasad's question, which were basic questions. I appreciate that.
Correct.
Now, one of the difficulties in the past was with TDS, and it's something we are still trying to figure out how to achieve this. Typically, we try not to make this into a basics course, okay? Because a lot of these topics, now this is not, I'm saying this is not what we are aiming for, okay? But This is a problem we are facing, which is if we make this a basics course, we will not get to the meat of the problem. And it will take a long time to, so for example, the system commands part of this, right? It's an entire course in itself in this program. But some of you will not do it. So we have to find a good balance between teaching you enough so that you can do the job. And of course, the flip side of it is if you don't teach enough that you're not able to grasp the later concepts, then that also is no good, right? So
Right.
finding that balance is difficult. I hope you appreciate the difficulty that we have.
No, definitely, sir. I totally understand the difficulty. Ideally, this course should have been a prerequisite. A prerequisite for this course should have been the programming part of the diploma, because they're actually, we can run two parallelly. I have taken this direct, data science without completing the programming part of it, and that's the reason for the struggle. And
Yes.
and you people, it makes your life much difficult, because there could be some people like me, and there could be some other people who are experts, and whom to teach is a big challenge for you.
Yeah, it's a debate we have had with the what do I call it? Not the course team itself. The course team is pretty clear on what they want. It's more to do with the management of the program. Okay, we have this debate every term, and I proposed some solutions. They have yet to take up those solutions. One was, I said we need to have a bridging course between TDS and the people who don't have these like you said, the essential skills, right? Because I'm happy to teach these. Okay, just as Prabhu just now taught it, I can take entire sessions on each one of these things, and I'm more than happy to do so with the charts and everything.
But time will not permit.
But the time will not permit. Yeah.
I understand.
So this is the difficulty we are facing. So my proposal is we want a bridging course. They are yet to take up on a decision on that. So a suggestion would be from our side to you guys is you make it known on discourse, tag JK, Jay Krishnavariam, and mention that you want some sort of bridging course between your knowledge level, the base where you are at, and TDS, which cover these basic topics. If you make that known to the management, right, and there is enough vocal support for it, then hopefully, hopefully then they will make adjustments and take our suggestion on board of having some sort of bridging course for you.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm facing a problem in question number 18. I've tried it several times, but the answer is coming same every method I tried. Can you explain that question number 18 again, or is the answer different, or the answer same? Only this question is left. Everything is done.
Okay, can we take this at the end of the session, because there is
Yeah,
something
sure,
that is
sure,
going
sure.
in between.
Sorry. Yes.
All right, okay. Okay, so what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a script locally first. So right now I'm using WSL, which I can switch between the multiple OS that are present on my machine via this interface. So I have opened up VS Code inside WSL. So now I'll make another working directory, and supposed to be D. So now what I want to create is some application which I can visit using browser, and that just prompts with hello world for the time being. So what I will do is I will now move to deployment tools, which is in week 2, and particularly to REST API. So over here, this is the part that um, that tells the script which are the things that is required to run the program that we have created. So I will copy this stuff over here. So this fast API, it is essential for setting up the application, like creating the endpoint. By endpoint, I mean, so for example, this github.com have a endpoint \new, and then setting up the server. All those things are handled by FastAPI, and then this will start server on a particular port. I will import FastAPI, and then I will create a application. So this is the standard setup that we are doing right now. And then I will create a get endpoint, and let me call it hello. And this def, and this naming can be anything. It can be hello or something. And this will just return hello world. Okay, let's call message and then hello world. Right. And now this if underscore name is equal to main. So what this will do is whatever code I am writing over here, this will execute first whenever I run this script. So UV corn, I will need it for running the application on some port, and let me use port 8000, and host should be my local machine, so which is one. Okay. Since I have already installed UV, so now I will use UV run. So this is copy or not. So now I'll be running that script using UV run. Okay. So UV run app.py. And visit this URL, and then the endpoint should be this one. And it returns hello world. So apart from this endpoint, there is something called method. So this is right now I have used get method, but I can also use post method, which we'll talk about in some other session. So this get method, you can say whenever I visit something on web, it is get method. If some post method is there, then there is some other mechanism to access post methods. But get methods, we can directly just open it inside browser. Okay. So now I have done this setup. Now what I want to do is I want to turn it to a Git repo so that I can track what are the changes that I have done in future as well. So I will use Git init. I have initialized a repository locally. So right now I'm on master branch. Okay. So now after initializing the repository, the, there are a few things that we need to do. So right now it is showing untracked file. There is nothing to commit because all the files are untracked. So by tracking, we mean we are not tracking this file. If I do any change right now, it won't tell me what was the earlier change. So I cannot get access to the earlier changes. So this file is not being tracked at the moment, but as soon as I do git add and then app.py, the name of the file, now it is being tracked. Right now I haven't done any commit, but it's been. And now let's say, for example, if I change anything over here, and yeah, fine. Okay, let's call it root. Um, okay, something like this. This is just some number. I think. And now if I do git status, so it is showing that this is file that I can commit, and this is been modified. So I will have to add it before committing if I want to keep these changes, or I can restore the earlier version. So for example, if I do
Sir,
git
uh,
restore
can you show Git diff once
app.py.
for everyone to understand what Git is exactly doing?
Someone wanted to say something?
Yes, sir. Sir, can you show what Git diff does so that everyone can understand what Git is doing exactly?
Yeah, sure. Right now I was just showing the restoration part. So now all those changes that we made over here, those were being restored. That means we have moved to the previous version. So this is what I changed. I have got it back using Control Z. And now if I do git okay, let me first not do Control Z. So now if I do git status, so it says this is the file that needs to be committed, and there is no more changes that's been made to any of the file that is present over here in the current in the repository.
Actually, what did you do, sir? You first initially you opened the file, saved the content, and after that you made some change. Like, right? You made a change and you did undo.
Yeah, so that's what I did. First, I created this app.py
Correct.
application with this piece of code, and then I initialized Git. So Git is for tracking files. Okay.
Okay.
Once I initialized, what happened was it was an empty installation initialization. There was nothing. Okay. But there
Hmm.
was one file, app.py, which is it could find in this uh, directory. So it
Yeah.
said this is a file which is not being tracked. By tracking means we are tracking what are the changes that has been done.
Correct.
Okay.
So then you did a git add.
Yeah. So that I
That
can
means
track the changes.
correct. After that,
Okay. Then I did Git status,
okay.
which is to see what is the current status. So before I used Git status, what I did was I made some changes. Like I introduced this piece of code over here,
Uh-huh.
this extra. So now what it is showing is this is the file that I can commit, and if I don't want to keep it, then I can unstash it. Okay, and then
So
this was the file that was
if you
being
want to commit
modified.
the sorry, if you want to commit those changes, then it says use that git rm cached file, right? Changes to be
Uh,
committed.
no, that will remove. That will unstash. So it will remove. So it won't track anymore.
But then
This
why
is the
then
file
it
that I
say
can.
above that it says changes to be committed? No, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
What's within the bracket is just extra information for you.
Correct. It should be the, if it is extra information, it should be the information to commit, how I should commit, isn't it?
No, that's just to if you accidentally stage this, if to unstage it, you can use this command. That's what that is saying. Commit is simple. You can use just git commit, and you have to add a message with so will
Yeah,
explain.
comment. Okay. Yeah.
Why it is showing like this is because what we have done is we had modified. So after adding, the general step that we do is we commit it, but we did not commit, and we made another change.
Okay. So
the change was this bit.
correct.
Yeah. So now it have given me option to either go back to the previous version, which was this one.
Meaning it's
Without.
like doing undo in the file.
Yeah, this step is like doing in the file. Restoring whatever changes you have done, but undo is what undo does is if I
Jivraj,
type something, if I type more, then
Jivraj, sorry to interrupt. I mean, it would be better if you can add one more file to the folder, right? Text file or anything, then it will be clear because the everyone is getting confused. The changes that we are doing and undoing within the same file, right? They're getting confused there. If we add a file into the same folder below the app.py, some text file or anything, right? Then Git will automatically displays like what are the files it was tracking, and it will show up like the list of the files which we need to add to make like a to add it to the staging. That will be like a more intuitive way. Sorry, you see what I'm saying?
yeah, we will do this. So wherever if I change something, it shows in green color. So these were the changes. So this has been tracked by Git. So it shows
Oh.
these are the newly added lines.
Okay.
This is one way to see. And then this has been added. Right now, if I do Git status, it will show it's been added, but I can remove it as well. That's an extra bit of suggestion, which is not helpful for committing. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and commit this file. Created a FastAPI server or something like that. And now if I use Git status, it says there is nothing that can be committed and we are working on the clean tree. Okay. Now if I create another file, right now it shows untracked. So if I use Git status, it shows this is the file that is not being tracked. Okay. So if I have to track this file, whatever changes I do, if I have to track those changes, then I will have to use Git add in the name of that particular file. And then Git status shows that this is the newly added file. And similar to that, I can commit this file as well. Now, if I see Git status, it shows nothing over there. So there is something called Git difference. Now, for that, I will show how you can list down all the commits. I guess it is Git list commit or something like that. What is the use of Git list? I don't remember what is the way to list all the commits. How do I list all the commits for Git repository. Okay, it's git log. And then this command is to just okay. So does anyone remember how many times we have done the committing?
We have done 2 commits, no?
Yes,
2
so how many
different.
yeah, sure. Yeah, we have done 2 commits. So it should show 2 different commits. So this was the later commit, which has this particular commit ID and the author that anyway, these are the extra details about when it was committed, time stamp, and then this was created a FastAPI server. These are the messages. Now there is something called Git Diff, which is for getting the difference between multiple commits. So if I use this, probably this is how it works. I'm not sure though. So diff -f git and then 181. Okay, get to diff and then let me use the commit ID of first commit. So this was the first commit. New file mode index. In two commits if I have their SHA to 56 commit string. Summarily change for file list only the file names changed, and then this is for highlight changes at the word level. I think this will I will try this one. So these are 2 different commits, and now hyphen color hyphen word. A and B, and these are 2 different. I think this is just because I have just created the file. I haven't done anything, and this shows A 1.5 and B 1.5. This is for different versions of 1.5 because in app.py we haven't made any changes. So now let me add some comment over here. This is okay. Let me add a comment which is descriptive as well. So this is to run the app in. Okay, this is fine. So now we have made some changes to the file. Now I will add app.py, and then right now I haven't made any commit, but I will change this file as well. This is
Sir, you have
sample.
already added before, no, sir? App.py.
Yeah, at that time I committed as well.
Oh, so okay. We have
So,
to add
okay.
everything. Okay.
Yeah. I'm adding file by file. So I have added the app.py. So right now what I have done, this is the only change that I have done, which is highlighted in green line, because this was the what I have added. If I delete something, it will highlight in red. So something like this. It will show red, and then if you click over there, it will also show what you deleted.
Yeah.
So right now I will just restore that. And these are the two changes that I have done. In this file, I have added this piece of code, and then over here I have added this comment. Now, if I do git status, this 1.py is the modified one, and this app.py I have already added. That's why it's showing it's been already added. So I will add 1.py as well. Now, when I do git status, these are the two files that's been modified. Now, if I do git commit -m, and then this is third time I'm committing, so I'm just saying third commit. Okay, now these are the two files that are being tracked. All right. Now, if I do git log, this is third commit, and then this is second commit. And if I scroll down, this will show more commits. So these are the three different commits. So this is second commit. This is third commit. So what was the changes that we made from second commit to third commit? We added this line, and then over here we changed this thing. Now it should show these changes when I do git diff. So I will copy the commit ID of third one, commit ID of second one, and get diff. This is for the third one. And then show color, right? No, color words. So this is pretty long output. So this is the change that is done in 1.py and 1.py. So it shows A 1.py, B 1.py. A, it is referencing to this commit, and B, it is referencing to another commit. So this was the change that we did. Okay, this is the line that we have added over here. And then over here it is to print the difference of app.py. So it will skip these lines. Over here we have this diff something. Okay. And then about this also this dot, and then in between it is saying skipping. Why it is showing like this? Because we haven't made any changes till here. Both the commit remains same. Then it shows that this is place where you have not here. This is where you had made a change. This is a sample change. Then this probably what it indicates. Some character or something. I don't remember. Some meaningful thing is there. So it tracks all these changes when you even use GitHub. If I go to this thing, so right now it have one commit, and if I go to their main branch, they don't have a main branch. If I go to some other branch, probably here there are multiple commits. So right now we were able to see the difference on our command line. So these same changes we can even view visually on github.com. So it checks with, so this is the current commit, and then it compares it with the last commit.
How did you get to this, sir?
Okay. So this is one of the repositories that is available on GitHub. Now, if I click over here, then it shows all the commits. So this is the commit ID. This shows the details about the commits. And then if I click on these one, then it shows what was changed with respect to the earlier code. So this green portion, it shows these were the lines that were added. And if there is nothing, like it shows something like this. There is some code above it. If you click over there, then that code will appear. Then till 448, there was no change in this edit test.go file. Okay, there was no change till line number 448. After that, these lines were added till 506, and then it continues from here. So it had 449 over here. The same code is here. Okay, then it continues till some file. So like this, it shows you the change. So these were the changes that had been made, and then it also shows who made these changes. So this github.com is helpful for tracking those things. So these changes were done by backdoor, or like that it shows. Okay. Were you able to understand what was usage of Git?
Yeah, we are able to understand. Don't know if we can reproduce ourselves, but we are able to understand.
Yeah, Prasad, that will come with practice. Okay, in one session, it will not come. If you just watch the session, also it will not come. You will have to actually physically
Correct, sir.
create some projects yourself and start getting into the habit of using it. For all of us, it was the same. When we first started using it, it was very challenging. So it's not like we suddenly got up one day, read the documentation or saw a video and it started clicking. Okay, all of us went through that phase where it was challenging at first. But the more you use it, the more natural it will become. So my suggestion to all of you, whatever subject you're doing, apart from TDS, start using Git almost as if it's your daily routine to use it for taking notes. So, for example, one of the things that we talked about in TDS was Markdown, right? So, Markdown is kind of a de facto standard for documentation for a lot of things, and it's very good at making notes. So some of you might be familiar with the tool Obsidian, for example. Okay, Obsidian, as in the stone Obsidian, and that's a very good package for making notes for anything that you're working on, right? So even if you want to write math equations, you can put some LaTeX in there and create some beautiful looking documents from it. So try and start using GitHub as a repository for these kinds of things, notes, any projects you're working on. Just try and you make it part of your everyday workflow. Then you will get better and better at it. And many companies require you to know how to use Git. Okay, rather Git and GitHub. It's just an essential part of their daily workflow. So if you don't know it, they're almost certainly going to be at a disadvantage to someone who does know, because they are doing all their workflows through it. So my strong advice is to start using it straight away for anything and everything that you can. The only thing, some caveats are there, some important caveats. There is, of course, a limit of the size of the files. So Git is mainly useful for text-based files. So whatever text-based things that you're doing is what you should limit it to. Text takes very little space, but it's also very portable. That's the whole point anyway. So try to make sure that that's how you can deal with your workflow. And the second important, this is an extremely important one. Don't ever put any API keys or secrets in your Git. Extremely important. Okay, it's a common mistake that some people do, especially people who have not used or using it for the first time. a very easily done mistake. Never ever, whatever happens, ever put any keys or anything that is supposed
Like
to be secret.
passwords.
Yeah, passwords, any secrets. Don't put it on Git. Do not track it with Git. Even if you untrack it with Git, right? If it has already been tracked once, you can always retrieve it. Someone maliciously can retrieve it. Okay, it's a known vulnerability of Git. So I'm making you all aware of it. Don't put any secrets on there. Put things on there that you're willing to share with everyone else. Then it's okay.
Sir, when I add a document to Git, uh, and will you all be able to access that Git unless I give permission to it or something like that? Like my Google Sheet, I have my own Google Sheet, and unless I give access, you will not be able to access it. No,
Yeah.
so
So Git has two things. There's a private repository and a public repository. So when you're creating a repo, you typically by default it's public,
oh,
but what you want to do is make it private if you don't want to share it with anyone. But even if you make it private, I'm again going to say stress this very much.
perfect.
Even if it is private, if you put a secret on there,
Yeah.
there are ways to exploit
Permanently
Git.
recorded.
There are ways to exploit even if it's private. There are known vulnerabilities that can exploit the Git commit system to retrieve your secrets. So don't put any secrets on Git.
Thank you.
But put your everyday normal daily notes, your project work, all those sorts of things are okay. Just don't put any secrets.
And similar to as you used to create private documents on Google Sheets and those kind of things, you can give access to some other collaborators. So over here also you can give access to other people. So if you create, this is one of the private repositories which I have. So if I go to settings and then collaborators, I am able to add anyone as collaborator. Like if I start searching, there's nothing called TDS. If I want to add Professor Anandan, probably this is his, I don't know. Oh, this will show the people who are already there. So this is add. Anyway, so this is how you can add more people to your repository. So now what we have done is we have done few changes on our local machine. We haven't yet uploaded it somewhere on cloud so that others can also access it. So right now all the changes that I have done, these are these are being tracked, but I haven't made them visible on GitHub. So now what I will do is I will push these changes to GitHub. Okay. So I was looking at some documentation and Linux.
Save it as a file and run.
Yeah, I can save it in a file as well, or else I can remove these things. Probably now this should work. I will just leave it in a file, and this is install, and what we are trying to install, GitHub CLI.
Something is missing from that.
So now I have installed this one, and this is untracked again. So this file is not being tracked, and this I can anyway remove it because I don't want to keep it because this is not part of the code. So now now I will use this tool, which I haven't used much because I used to create via interface itself.
Okay, so the Windows thing is only installing on Windows, but for Linux install, we are running the script.
Yeah, because I'm working within WSL, that's why I have installed it based on for Windows. So this is for Mac OS, okay? So if on there
Where was the script exactly?
on the GitHub CLI documentation. So over here there is option for downloading for Windows, and then over here this is a link to GitHub. If you see in this right corner, when I clicked over here, then I ended up going on this page. Or also I can search GitHub CLI installation, something like that, and then it will appear. This is the first documentation that. Okay. So how do I create a repository? Public repository on GitHub using GHCLI. So this is where I was working, and then I will use gh repo create, and then name of the repo. Let me call it 1705 itself. And then it should be a public repo. And then source dot hyphen sourc dot. Why I'm using it? Because I want this current directory. So whatever is we have initialized Git for this current directory. So I'm using that only as a source. And then I can even use hyphen push to push it to GitHub. So this will push. So I'm sourcing changes, whatever is there in the current working directory. And then if I use push, it will push to GitHub. So I will also enable hyphen push as well. So this will create a GitHub Yeah, this is fine. And when I did this, it says you first need to get authenticated. So I will do that first. And this will use github.com, and I will use HTTPS based authentication. Authenticate using your GitHub credentials. Yes, I want to use that. And I want to log in via browser.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you click on that blue text, or did you use press 1, 2, or did you use arrow keys?
I can navigate using arrow keys, and then I can
Like when
use
it showed you
enter.
authenticate, like which is your preferred protocol for Git operations? Did you press arrow key enter or do it?
Okay, I will do it again. So over
Yeah,
here, if I
now.
use arrow keys,
Okay, arrow
I'm able
keys
to
is the way
navigate
to
in
navigate. Okay.
different. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
because
then
you
I
moved your cursor for some reason. I thought you maybe it was interactable.
no, I don't feel so. No, it's not. And now over here, I can.
Thank you.
And then for selecting, just use enter. So now I want to use GitHub credentials, and then I want to use the this is one, and continue, and whatever code is over here, I just want to use that. Okay.
So as you guys noticed, Jivraj did not use any SSH keys here, right? So he installed GitHub CLI, and he just did authentication via HTTPS. So this is a very easy way to get your repo connected with your local Git, and the workflow becomes very simple.
Yeah, but in case of HTTPS, we'll have to log in every time. To whenever we push content, we have to log in. Whereas in Git,
No, no,
No,
no.
with GitHub CLI, you don't have to. It stores information in some file for session storage. So there is some persistence of your keys. So every time you don't have.
okay. No, but I tried using HTTPS also with GH, and I had to use login every time. Like every time when I started a new session, I had to do login or in through browser. And I can try it again if you like.
Yeah, I mean, that is strange because I use a VM and I completely shut down the VM. And when I come back again, it works. So I'm not entirely sure why you're facing that issue. I mean, Jivraj can demonstrate it now itself, right? You can just close the session and see if it requires you to authenticate again. I'd be very surprised if you have to.
Yeah, sure. So since I have done the authentication part, I can just enter.
No, you can just do GH auth logout or something.
If you log out, obviously, then it will not work, right? That means you're saying you don't want to, you want to be logged in again, right?
That was
But
a one-time code.
yeah,
Okay. So now I should be able to run the command for creating the repo. And let's check if it is available on okay, instead of checking it via browser interface, first let's check it with the CLI itself. List the repositories and on my available. Hidden. So gh repo, and then I will need to use the username. So my username is jivraj-18, and then limit is 1 is fine because I just want to see the latest one, and yeah, that's fine. Okay. Limit.
GH repo list. You must list.
Oh, okay. It must be list. So it's this is the one that we just created. Now if I go to browser and then to my repositories, this is the latest one that I have created, and it have these files. And then how many commits I did? I did 3 commits. All these commits are here. So this was the first commit. So what I did in the first commit, I just created this app.py file. So it's visible over here. Now if I go to the second commit, this was the file that I added. So there was no more changes that I did. And then in the third commit, I changed 2 files. In 1.py, I made these changes. And then in app.py, I did not make any changes till line number 19. And then I inserted this particular line. And then this line now becomes 21st line. So it shows this kind of comparison over here as well. All right. So now let's get back to what we were trying to achieve. So we have seen how you can run a script that is locally present. Now we will run a script that is not present locally on my machine. So I will run this script, and if I go to row and then if I copy this, it only have this piece of code. There is nothing much over here. Now, since this app.py is already present in my local directory, but anyway, that doesn't matter. So uv run and then the URL of the script that I want to run. This is the script that I want to run. And if I enter, it have executed this script, which is not present on my local machine. Some copy of it is present on my local machine, but I haven't run the local copy. I have executed the cloud copy, which is present on GitHub. So without downloading. So this is one
Jivraj,
feature there.
what
Yes.
you can do is just to demonstrate the difference, make a change to your local copy and don't commit it. And show the difference between the two.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So right now I am able to access it, and if I go to / what was the name of the endpoint? Hello. So it gets this message. Now, what should we change? Maybe message. Hello, Prasad. Now I have made some changes to local copy, and right now it's been modified. But now I will go ahead and run the local copy. But right now, since port 8000 is already occupied with some application, I will use some other port. Let me use port 8001. And now if I open it and use hello endpoint, it shows hello Prasad. So this is from the local app.py and this is from the remote app.py.
So I hope you guys appreciated the difference here, right? He didn't do pip install. He didn't install any of the packages. He didn't create a virtual environment. This is what makes UV so beautiful, right? It's a complete environment and package manager in one. And it does it virtually. I think there is some metric out there that says it's like 10 times or 100 times faster than pip. Now, if you had to create a virtual environment, where you do .vanv source activate, did all those things as some of you have done with the Flask projects, right? Then you pip install the various dependencies. All that rigmarole is not there. You just do UV run, and it does it automagically, instantly from anywhere. So I hope you realize why we are teaching you this package manager.
So is it being used in a production ready application as well, or is it for
So the reason we are showing these tools are largely to show you that these are when you're creating some applications for demonstrating to clients, you want to be able to run these things for quick demos, right? We are not teaching you how to build full stack servers, right? That's a completely different domain. Here the objective is you got some tools, you want to quickly deploy them to demonstrate for your client. And how do you do that effortlessly and quickly without any difficulties in replicating the environment, right? Where it's because sometimes you will say, oh, it runs on my machine, but it doesn't run there, right? So this is the goal here is not to deploy a full stack server with all the bells and whistles. Here, the idea is reproducibility of a given package that can be deployed anywhere because all its requirements can be immediately be reproducible on another system. Okay, so the use case is not specifically production ready systems. The use case is deployability and reproducibility.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, does UV actually install it or it doesn't install it in your particular system in which you are running it? I mean, like all
I'm
the
not
requirements.
sure I understood the question. Could you say that again?
I'm like when we suppose we do pip install something, then it actually installs to your system. And while we are using UV, does it actually get installed to your system or it doesn't and just it runs virtually and after running it gets vanished?
Yeah, so UV also installs it locally, but the difference is it does it in some virtual environment that doesn't affect your local installations. So normally when you do a pip, unless you create a virtual environment, the pip will affect your, your local system, right? That's why you have this virtual environment created. UV creates also a virtual environment and it installs so it has two copies basically effectively. One is it has a cached version of what the packages you want that you have used already. Okay, so the first time you run it, it'll take a little bit longer, but still will be very fast. The second time you run it, it will use the cached version, but it will create or use it inside a virtual environment. So that's how UV will typically work.
Okay, thank you.
So one practical example I can give you is when you, so in a project last term, we required students to create a Dockerized application, okay? And the Dockerized application, we had to evaluate it. And this application, each student would have any number of dependencies, right? So imagine now we get 600, 700 submissions. All of them have their own individual application with its own individual requirements. Imagine if we had to manually process all that information, right? And install, create virtual environments, things like that, right? With UV, in one single line, we are able to execute all those 700 instances. So you can imagine how useful UV is when you're looking at doing things at scale for reproducibility and those sorts of things, right? Okay, it's we didn't have a break today, so the question is, shall we wind up this session now? And I think there'll be a little bit left for maybe tomorrow. Are there any specific topics you want us to cover for tomorrow that we haven't covered so far?
When are we going to learn Docker? Are we going to learn Docker in depth or an overview?
So Docker, we will teach you the basics of Docker, what it is, how we use it, how to deploy, make a container, how to configure it. All those things we will teach. There's not much more beyond that because we are not going to, for example, we are unlikely to teach you how to network different Docker containers together. That is something we won't teach. That is getting a little more or orchestration of Docker. Those sorts of things you're not going to teach. But the idea is we want to teach you how to create a project, containerize it, deploy it, so that someone else can run it. So our goal will be to get to that point. If we can get you to produce a containerized application that someone else can run, then our objective has been achieved. So that much we will teach you about Docker. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Sir, Carlton?
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually I've been trying to sort the JSON array that was provided in question number, I guess, 9 or 10 using PQ. So I provided all the necessary conditions that were mentioned in the question, but still I was not able to get this. I mean, I'm getting an array mismatch error. So I don't know where the
can you just repeat quickly what you used? I didn't hear that part. What you used to
sort the array? Yeah, JQ, I guess.
okay. Used JQ to sort it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm unable to do it. I've used all the right conditions as far as I'm understanding, and the result is also quite according to me. But still, the array is not up to mark. I feel like the filtering condition is wrong, whereas I don't think filtering could get wrong if I specified the right number. I don't know where
Okay,
I'm.
so you believe your answer is right. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I feel like my answer is
Okay.
right, but still.
So Vikas, can you do Vikas, right?
Yeah,
Is it Vikas? Okay, yeah. Can you just share your what's it called roll number? Then we can quickly check on our end if there is any issue with the question. Now, almost 99% of the times it's probably a logic error, but I can still check it for you and just confirm that we are getting what the expected answer is or not.
Or I could send you my JQ query so that you can check if there is actually a logical error.
No. There's no point for me in doing that, right? Because we will provide a solution at some point. So what I would suggest is you send me the roll number. We will check if we get the right answer. If we get the right answer, means there is a logic error on your part, right? The logic thing is for you to solve, right? Not for us to solve.
Yeah, that is fair. So my roll number is attached to my screen ID only. It's 23. If you can see.
Vikas, is it? It be
Yeah, it's visible on the screen also right now.
Yeah, but I can't copy paste that right now. No, I can't copy paste it. Yeah, can you just put it in the chat?
It in the chat box.
Yeah.
Carlton, I want to clarify something.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we use UV, right, it does not install locally, but within a virtual environment and a cache which is shared across virtual environments, right?
Yeah.
That is exactly the behavior, right?
Yeah. That's how it does it. Yeah. It creates a cached copy, and then it uses it across virtual environments, and it even keeps track of which version also. So if your cached version, you specified a specific version, then it will keep a cached copy of whatever versions you specified.
Yes, Carlton, I've shared it right now.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. So I'll check and get back to you. Okay.
Okay. Fine.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for understanding our problems and going at relatively slower pace.
Yeah. See, it's our job to help you out, right? So
Thank you.
no worries.
Sir, another
But
thing, sir,
uh,
I think the graded assignment actually end date is tomorrow itself for the GA1, GA2.
No, for
No,
GA2 it is
just GA1.
25th, right?
Sorry, 18th.
For
No,
GA1,
GA2 is 25th. Yeah.
No, sir. I am seeing it
For
currently.
GA2, it's 25th. GA2, it's 25th.
25th. Okay, I saw it the same actually. But right now, anyway, I'm doing GA1, which is 18th tomorrow. I am not even halfway through. I am still struggling. Yeah. Okay. Okay, sir.
So back to the original question, which is, is there anything you guys want us to cover for tomorrow? Because ideally we want to start on week 2 tomorrow, because there is a lot to cover in week 2 actually, and it will take
Uh,
time.
can we see a short overview of the topics so we can, you can make a poll maybe based on topics.
Sir, just one thing. Can the one expectation from my side is the way somebody actually tried to explain maybe something of that sort, overview to connect the dots kind of thing. If there is any somebody.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. Yeah, we will. That's what, right? We don't know what level people were at, so
Correct.
that's why
Yeah.
once we know that, then we can
Sure.
make adjustments. Yeah, I understand completely. I mean, we need to take it a bit more slower and clearly um, explain the process and just
Right.
like Prabhu did.
Yeah.
So we are able to do that. It's just like I said, we don't know where to pitch it unless someone tells us, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sir. No problem.
one thing we can do to help the teachers is look at the topics for the day's call, and then go through the videos that we have been given before the call, which will be really helpful. Because when someone asks if we will be taught Docker, uh, if you notice the sir's answer, he would say, we'll teach you how to create a container, we'll teach you how to containerize your application. He didn't say he'll teach us like what Docker is, because those are covered in our videos and the documentation which were given to us, which will be really helpful while we are attending these sessions. That's one thing I wanted to mention.
So this is where the pitching issue comes. So it's not that we can't teach what Docker is. We can also illustrate it for you. Anyway, we will try our best to help those who also don't understand what the meaning of Dockerization is. Okay. So,
No,
but
I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to say that. What I meant is, when you already saw the videos and you're getting doubts, it's easier and quicker to solve those doubts and move on to the current topic
yeah, absolutely. If you watch
than
the videos,
explaining
you will
from
get
the
it.
beginning.
Yeah, definitely. And that is, you're absolutely right about that. Our preference is students watch the videos, but that doesn't quite happen, right? So, so that's why we face these issues as well. So, yeah.
So when people see 2 hour sessions, they inherently assume we are going to be taught from the basics.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are not watching the videos.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a good poll question, right? Maybe I should put that poll on here because that's worth knowing. I wish I'd put the poll earlier. The poll should be, maybe Jivraj can do the poll. The poll should be, how many of you actually watched all the videos for week 1? That would be very instructive.
True, sir.
And then the options can be watched a few, watched, watched most, or watched all. And then, yeah. So if you guys can answer this poll, that will be helpful. Then we will know what's happening. And then you can express also what's the reasons, right? Why you didn't do it.
Sir,
Hmm.
where basically I watch all the videos
Okay.
of the lecture. So
Yeah.
what I feel is like when I go through the videos and I try to understand the content. So there are so many terms and so many things which I don't understand. And when I try to understand that thing, then I stuck in that, and then I'm not able to move to another. And one more thing is a connecting link, like when I watch the video and the matter all the written in the content, all the written in the page, when I go through, because I don't know about each and every, just like if I want to install the UV, then there are if I want to install UV in Linux and then in Windows and then in Cargo and Docker, and there are so many things. So I got confused there ki, okay, I want to install in which. After the Ritik sir session, I understand that okay, if I'm using a window, then I have to install the thing in Windows, right? If I'm using a Docker, then I have to install it in Docker. But how do I know it like I have to install in everything or I have to install in one thing? So there are so many minute simple basic question which I'm not getting the answer, and I'm not making a link between them. And one more thing, sir, the questions are like some part is in the deployment and development tools, and some part are in deployment tool, which I'm getting where I'm getting confused is after that I have to go to which part, and I have to go to understand which part to do the next step. So here I'm struggling, sir.
Yeah,
Hmm.
actually, I second her. Basically, sir, we are. I mean, although I did not complete watching all the videos, the way she explained, I'm getting stuck at every place and don't know how to proceed to the next step, and that's how we are. I'm at least I'm getting caught to proceed further. So, in spite of making a genuine effort to go through, because there is too much to choose, too much to understand. I mean, for every word, I have to understand what is it before I read the next word, something like that. So
Hmm.
Exactly. The
that is
basic terms
causing
is
the
not
trouble.
even getting the thing,
Yeah,
like where to go and how to start.
right.
And one
Yeah,
more thing, like where from where to start. After Ritik sir, and I'm trying to recognize the command, like okay, if there is a tilde, then it is in the Linux. If there is a like slash, then it
right.
starts from the. Now I'm getting the basic thing better, but before that I'm even confusing, because whenever the session is happening, sir is switching from command prompt to Linux and then again Windows.
Exactly.
Even I also stuck there, so I
Yeah.
don't
I don't know
understand.
whether I'm in command prompt or I mean DOS prompt or PowerShell prompt or what is the other thing?
Even in
VS
the
Code, VS Code
Yeah, even in
terminal.
the
I
content,
don't.
the so many things are given, like okay, if I want to write this command, the way I have to write this command,
Right.
I'm
Exactly.
struggling in that thing also.
Sir, it's definitely nothing to do with you, sir. It is
Yes,
just that
sir.
this course should have a prerequisite. Before completing that, you cannot come to this course. The course that's how it should have been. The
Yeah, yeah,
requirement.
yeah.
That's the only problem,
Sir,
sir. Otherwise,
I
Absolutely, absolutely true. But I would like to mention three things here. Uh, First one is uh, this is a skip step. This is moving from uh, you know not even basic, from beginner to intermediate thing. So it's like concentrating at two courses. It's almost equal to two courses if you don't know the basics. So I would like to suggest two things. One is once you're starting a topic, before you start a particular topic, go to YouTube and search for two things. One is why should I learn XYZ, the topic? That would explain the purpose of the tool completely, what it does. Uh, try and find videos that are 10 minutes to 12 minutes. A lot of things are available in YouTube. So why should I learn is one thing. And the second thing is what is. So uh, the difference between why should I and what is uh, the keywords you mentioned won't be covered in the why should I learn XYZ part. When you get to the what is XYZ video and find a video that is like 40-50 minutes, you'll pretty much get the hang of the keywords. And to the command prompt and bash issue we are facing, I would suggest blindly copy paste the code and execute it. You'll get an error. Copy that error, paste in ChatGPT along with where you executed it. It will clearly tell you what is the either the mistake is in your code or the environment you're placing it in. It will be pretty clear. And the main thing is the basic videos in YouTube. Why should I learn?
Excuse me, sir. Can
Uh,
I ask you a question, Professor Carlton, sir? Carlton, just
Okay.
Carlton.
First of all, I'm not professor, and you don't
Just
have to call
Carlton.
me sir. Just call me Carlton. Yeah.
Do you know why do we learn Java in the diploma?
Why do
What is
you
the
learn
benefit? Why is
your?
Java a subject in our course?
That's because Java is used a lot in. You're talking about normal Java, right? Not JavaScript,
Yes,
right?
normal Java, not JavaScript.
Because there is a lot of legacy code that corporates use Java. I think something like 40 to 50% of large corporates all have Java in their code base. So, as a part of making you job ready, they have Java in the course.
Okay. I just asked that because Ritik said Linux being taught separately as a module. So I was thinking, what if Linux was taught as a subject itself? Would that
It
help
is, yeah.
students?
Linux is taught as a subject separately. It's called system commands. There is a separate
Okay, so
course
system commands is
that run.
basically Linux. All right.
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
yeah. So
System
then it's
commands is
different.
completely Linux from, I'd say, from beginner to, well, okay, from beginner to intermediate.
Okay. Yeah. So then yeah, like Prasad said, if it's a prerequisite, I think that would make things a lot easier. So
Yeah,
it
the only issue
you have
there
that.
is, okay,
Yeah.
so there is a technical reason why it's not a prerequisite. We have mentioned this as well. So the reason we have been given why it's not a prerequisite is because it's not part of the data science diploma. So the issue is tools in data science is in the data science diploma.
Oh.
Some students only do data science diploma. So they have they have no chance of actually doing system commands. To which my return or comeback to them is, then in that case, there must be a bridging course for those students that they have to do this bridging course in order to do data science in diploma. That bridging course should be system commands like that. But they have not warmed up to that idea. And then they ask at the end of the term, they always ask us the question why so many students are failing.
Probably
So
a manpower issue, I'm guessing.
no, I don't think it's a manpower issue.
No, it's not a manpower issue. It's a question of getting ready for this course. We are not ready for this course. That is the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I
I
can
mean, if
see.
somebody at IITM, the team that is managing this course, could create even like a 1 or 2 hour, 3 hour concise video, all they need to do is start from the basic, and like the people who like talking to themselves, make somebody like that do the recording of the video, so they're just talking to themselves the whole time, and usually it's more than self-explanatory, because if they explain every single step they do, no matter how silly or anything, it helps, because especially now you can see with all the silly questions that are happening, there isn't really a silly question, it's just question.
So in Western universities, right? So I'll give you an example, like my mom, right? So she changed her career sort of in her mid 40s. Okay, she went from being a corporate executive to deciding she didn't want to uh, uh, what you call for it, live in this very cutthroat world. Okay, so she wanted to actually care for other people. So she decided to completely change her career 180 degrees around, and she decided to become a cardiothoracic nurse. Okay, but of course there are some gaps in her knowledge, right? All she knows is business. She knows how to do contracts worth millions of dollars or whatever it is. Okay, that's fine. But there is a big gap between that and the biology, anatomy, all these sorts of things, basic things that are required for nursing, right? And guess what? The university provided a bridging course for the things she was weak in. It's a normal practice. So it's a normal practice in Western universities. If they see you're a good candidate for a program, they will provide some bridging courses that help you fill those gaps before you even start on the program.
No matter how wide the gap is, as long as
yeah.
you are a capable person.
Yes,
that's
correct.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's the same. My suggestion is the same thing. Is there are going to be students who are doing only diploma in data science part, right? So they will be from business background. They will be from arts background. They will be from various kinds of fields, okay, which is great because you want to be able to do data science for lots of these esoteric fields, okay. But they need these skills. So if they are committed and they want to learn it, they really ought to be. This is only my opinion. I feel that there really ought to be a bridging course for them so that they can bridge this gap that we see particularly in stark contrast when it comes to tools in data science. So they learn all the ML, they learn all the math, but they're missing these basic understanding of Linux and commands and how to use them and all these sorts of things, which makes their progress in this course very challenging. But like I said, they have not yet warmed up to that idea. But I hope with enough feedback from students that it will become a reality. Then we can better serve students in this program.
Yeah, I hope so too, because this was like a very big initiative in India. Like this course, it's like, it's representing a lot of stuff, I feel like. Because with all the education, like online education things, there's a one big thing which everybody's struggling from, that people do complete things, but at the end when it comes to using them, they're still kind of stuck because for whatever reason there's some concept didn't get cleared, and they're just the mental block is very real in this aspect. I encountered this in statistics too. I suffered so much.
Yeah. Okay, I have a hard stop, okay, because the facility I'm in, the guards will now come and make noise and say, I need to leave this place, right? So I'm going to have to leave this session. If Jivraj wants to continue, I suppose he can, but ideally we don't want these sessions to be longer than, say, 2.5 hours.
Yes,
and we've reached the
Yes,
2.5 hour
other
mark.
classes are going.
Yeah. So we'll close this now, but if there is anything you want to quickly say, you want us to cover for tomorrow, just put it in the chat window quickly now, and then we will take
So
that into consideration.
one more thing. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
So tomorrow we can just continue the week one concept. Whatever the thing which after this session I feel where I stuck, I just point out the thing, and then we can discuss the whole week one with complete every topic.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay, Karishma. So do one thing. Just put,
Yes.
in week one, there is some question numbers, right? Question 5, question 7, whatever.
Yes.
Whichever question numbers you guys are stuck at, right, will give us an idea of what topics we need to discuss. So just put those question numbers in the chat real quick. I'll give you like 2 minutes. If you guys can put it on there, then we can close this session. Okay.
I
Because
think
I
we can
really
do poll, sir, on this because so many people agree on so many questions. Like where
poll
I am able
will
to
be
say
difficult to.
till question 5, sir. With a lot of struggle, I am currently at question. I
Yeah.
think 3. Yeah.
Anyway, I have to leave the session.
Sure.
Jivraj can take up the rest of the things, okay? But try and wind it up as soon as possible.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
I have an idea. What if we have like a discourse thread and you guys can write all the keywords of whatever you don't understand, and tomorrow we, while teaching, sir can check it and then just go through it. Because I think if we start doing question numbers, everybody will have one question number and we'll cover the whole assignment in one day, and we might miss key topics. Like, just write the keywords only, nothing extra, and save them, and tomorrow we can talk about it, or post them on one thread in discourse. It's up to
Um, yeah,
Jivraj and
that's also good. Just but keep it in a single thread. Don't create
yeah,
multiple
just
threads.
one thread.
Yeah, so that it's easy to collect all of them together. And yeah, and try to mention tools instead of a particular question. It should be tool based instead of a question based,
Yeah, that might be better.
which
Sir,
is
You
how,
can do
sir, how,
questions, but questions you can just ask on the spot.
sir, how
But
do we collect all these things? Should I open a thread in Discourse and people
yes,
can keep
please.
adding to it?
Yeah, Prasad, please open a thread in Discourse and just write all the keywords that you think you're struggling with, separated by a comma. That should be enough. We just
Sure.
need a list of everything. And
Yeah,
people, guys, please give Prasad some time, and then you can reply later to his thread only. Don't make separate threads.
yeah, yeah. No, I will actually. I am creating it right away. I
Yeah,
won't
that's
add anything.
perfect.
I'll
That's
just say
perfect.
that this thread is
Ha
for
ha,
so and so.
perfect.
Then people can add it, and I because instead of waiting, instead of thinking
Yeah,
from my
that's
side and
right.
adding it right, I will create the thread right away so that people can keep adding.
Thank
Yep.
you so much.
Yep. Sure, I'll do that immediately.
So, guys, just take your time whenever you're going to study now or in the morning. And next session, we can, I think, Jivraj and Ritik would have an easier time as well trying to understand our issues.
hmm.
Sure. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And the session is over, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
session is over. I
Okay.
will stop the
See you
recording.
guys. Good night, guys. Bye.
Good night.